Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest races on the planet, the high-stakes, multi-trillion-dollar battle to build the future of autonomous transportation. Picture this. It's September 2025. In Austin, Texas, a single app goes live, and the whole world takes notice. Tesla has just launched its Robotaxi service. But, this wasn't the end of some long, epic journey. No, this wasn't the finish line. It was the starting gun. It kicked off a brand new, white-hot phase in the global race for self-driving cars. So the big question is no longer if this is going to happen. The real question now is, who's actually going to win? All right, so let's start with Tesla and break down what this Austin launch really means. Because let me tell you, it's about a whole lot more than just a new app to call a car. So you can get the app, you can call a ride, but here's the catch. It's really a massive public test. See, the service only works in a specific geo-fenced part of Austin. And the biggest thing, there's always a human safety monitor sitting right there in the passenger seat. That's the dead giveaway that this isn't the true hands-off, fully driverless future, at least not yet. And that's a huge difference compared to what some of the other players are doing. So what's Tesla really up to? Well, they're fighting a two-front war, and it's pretty brilliant. On one side, it's all about data. They're collecting a mountain of high-value information from these tricky city streets, all those weird edge cases that are so crucial for training their AI. But on the other front, it's a PR war. By calling this a public launch, they get to control the story, shape how we all see them, and go head-to-head with Waymo's narrative of progress. And not really sets the stage for what's happening in the US, because you've got this massive collision of two completely different philosophies on how to build a self-driving car. Okay, so think of it like this. On one side, you have Tesla's pure vision. It's a minimalist approach, betting everything on cameras and a super powerful AI, basically trying to teach a computer to see just like a human. But then you've got Waymo. They're taking a safety-first, engineering-heavy approach. They're packing their cars with LiDAR, radar, and cameras. It's all about redundancy, having multiple ways to see the world so nothing gets missed. And this chart, wow, it lays it all out perfectly. You can see the huge difference in hardware, right? Tesla with its cameras, Waymo with the whole sensor suite, and look how that impacts their status. Tesla is in a public test, still with a safety driver. Waymo, they're fully commercial, fully driverless, and doing 250,000 rides a week. And then you see Cruise, just gone. A really stark reminder of how fast things can change in this game. Yeah, the Cruise situation was a bombshell. They were a leader, and then after one major incident, they lost the trust of the regulators, and it all just collapsed. It's a huge warning sign for everyone in this space. It proves that your technology can be amazing, but if you lose public trust, you lose everything. It is the most important asset you have. And that trust is incredibly hard to earn. Just look at these numbers. A recent AAA survey found that 60% of people are straight up fearful of getting into a self-driving car. That is a massive hurdle. Solving the tech is one thing, but solving the human fear factor, that's just as big of a challenge. Okay, so let's shift gears and look across the Pacific, because China is playing a completely different game. They're building a path to autonomy that doesn't just rely on the car itself. They're going all in on something called V2X, which stands for Vehicle to Everything. And the idea is pretty wild. It's a huge state-led project to build smart roads with their own sensors and 5G that talk directly to the cars. It gives the car this incredible God's eye view of everything happening around it, even around corners. It takes a huge amount of pressure off the car's own systems. And the king of this ecosystem, without a doubt, is Baidu Apollo. I mean, the scale is just mind-boggling. They've already done over 11 million rides. They have fully driverless robotaxis running commercially in huge cities like Wuhan. They are a giant in this space. But there's a funny side effect to their extreme focus on safety. The locals in Wuhan have actually given the cars a nickname, Silly Radish. Why? Because they drive so cautiously and slowly, they're almost too safe compared to a regular human driver. So how do you get people to ride in a Silly Radish? Simple. You make it cheap. Baidu combines that ultimate safety approach with heavy subsidies, making their rides incredibly affordable. And it's working. They've become massively popular, and they're now a serious threat to the big ride-sharing company over there, Didi. So this brings up the big question, right? Why are all these companies pouring billions and billions of dollars into this? What's the end game? What is the prize they're all fighting for? Well, it's not about beating the taxi industry. That's small potatoes. The real prize is the entire $10 trillion market for personal mobility. The goal is to make owning your own car in a city just not make sense financially anymore.
And the weapon they're going to use to do it is cost. According to ARK Invest, once these robotaxi services get big enough, they think the cost per mile could drop to just 25 cents. Think about that.
And when you see it on a chart like this, it just clicks. You're looking at something that's potentially 3 times cheaper than owning your own car, and maybe 6 times cheaper than calling an Uber. An economic advantage that huge doesn't just change a market, it completely blows it up. But to get to that scale, you have to prove you're safe. And this is where things get really messy. Trying to compare safety data between, say, Waymo and Tesla's autopilot is a total apples to oranges problem. They're different systems, driving in different places, and they don't even define an accident the same way. So right now, a truly fair head-to-head safety comparison is basically impossible. So where does that leave us? With all these different strategies and huge challenges, who is actually going to win this thing? What does the road ahead look like? Well, one thing's for sure. The winner won't be decided by technology alone. It's going to be whoever can navigate this absolute minefield of challenges. You've got to deal with regulation. You have to figure out how to actually make money, which means getting that human driver out of the car. You have to win over a skeptical public. And you've got to prove your tech is rock-solid reliable at a massive, massive scale. And the long-term vision here is just huge. We're not just talking about a better taxi. We're talking about a whole new operating system for our cities. Imagine freeing up all the land we currently waste on parking. We're talking 15 to 20% of our urban spaces. That's a revolution. So the race is on. The technology is moving faster than ever. And it brings this whole huge global discussion right back down to a very personal question. When a robotaxi finally rolls up on your street, are you going to get in?